Hello, Cryptonauts, and welcome back to another episode of Cryptocurrency Chat. I am your host, Jake Giapparelli, with my co-host, Blockchain John, here on this Wednesday, middle of the week, May 3rd, 2023, episode 512. We are very quickly approaching the Blockchain Expo event, as you can see on your screen ahead of you. That will be happening, this is not this week, but it's not next week, it's the week after. So
Yeah.
almost exactly 2 weeks away, because it's on the 17th and 18th. So we will be in Santa Clara, John and I, for the Blockchain Expo. And if you guys want to come out and see us, that'd be awesome. We would love to meet up with people that follow our channel. That would be pretty cool. We will be interviewing every dang person we can possibly find that was willing to talk to us. And actually, the last time we talked to everybody. So we'd be happy for you to join John's stream. He will be streaming everything, and we will be interviewing people, and it'll be fun. So how's it going, John?
It's all right. I just got hit by allergy season, but I'll do my best to get through it.
All
So
right,
here we go. I'm just ready to go.
let's hit the first fake Elon news. Fake Elon news. Fake Elon Musk coins, AI scams raise ire of Texas regulators. What is happening?
This article pretty much Texas regulators were just kind of surveilling the different offerings that were out there. You know, a bunch of coin makers, a bunch of scams, which is good. Texas, I mean, every state should do that. Every state should be, keep an eye out on what's going on in the market. It's kind of difficult to do that, especially with blockchain, right? But they ended up finding this Truth GBT coin, obviously, because Truth GBT is like a thing that Elon Musk is backing. Somebody made a coin out of it, like it's pretty much a rug pull per se. That's what this article is talking about. That they used the Elon Musk AI token, and they made it say, let's see, they made a there's a comment here that says True DBT coin is presented as an AI powered cryptocurrency investment advisor powered by Elon Musk AI, and you can earn up to 1,000 times your investment. Bro, nothing's guaranteed. Do not give financial advice, man.
Yes. Well, it's not.
It's
It's not.
crazy.
You can take whatever you want as financial advice. It's just a question of whether or not you're putting your entire life savings into it and expecting it to go up 1,000x. It's like, it's. I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't even know if you could trust Warren Buffett to tell you it was 1,000x. I don't think he would tell you that. I don't think he would tell you anything close to that.
exactly.
So, if it were Warren Buffett in person, I, I'd be questioning his judgment.
So, Security Commissioner Travis Ellis issued the emergency cease and desist order to protect the public from immediate and irreparable harm, which is great. I love that.
Yeah.
I applaud them. It's
Yeah.
good that they did that.
This is why they do it. I mean, they are out there to keep the public from not just being scammed. It's like, what does the SEC do? It tries to protect the public, and we all often say that they're doing things that are harmful to the public's wishes. But I mean, they're trying to keep people from losing all their money.
I would actually like to see more articles like these where coming out and being proactive. I don't recall the last time we read an article like this.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, that's good.
Yeah. No, I approve. It's probably the reason a lot of lawmakers are out against CBDCs is that well, not all lawmakers, mostly just Republicans, but at the same time, it's like there are benefits, there are detriments, and if the government holds all your money, then as we've said many times, it will probably be on a shirt we make. Not your keys, not your crypto, or in this case, not your keys, not your money.
Yeah.
So continue on.
Last
Go
little
ahead.
quote here
Sorry.
says, "Since the pandemic, we've learned that scams don't know boundaries. With increased connectivity, scams are crossing the state to countries throughout the world." Tunda said, "Scammers don't limit themselves, so we shouldn't limit ourselves to four corners."
Yeah, good point. Yeah, scammers don't care. They'll take everything, including your life if they can. So, moving on to something that I have personal interest in. White House issues report justifying 30% crypto mining tax, cites lack of economic benefits. Now, as I'd said pre-show, and actually when my brother sent me a similar article earlier today, uh, this feels like a smear campaign. This feels like somebody's got the ear of the president, or at least the economic sorry, executive branch of the U.S. government, and is trying to deliberately target mining companies. Now, the argument for mining is definitely not understood by most people. So it would be easy for a person who was new to the concept to say, well, of course you're using tons of energy on something that's completely pointless. But the thing, I want to make a quick analogy here that in, what was it, before this kind of green movement started about 2008, 2009, General Motors used to have a very big wall inside the building inside their building that showed exactly how much power they drew from the grid and how much water they drew out of the lakes. And you know what? They took that giant sign down. Why did they take it down? Because it was proof that they were wasting gargantuan amounts of power and water. And it just made them look bad once the green movement started happening as a political thing. And so they stopped boasting about how much power they use because they're like, well, we're actually using a whole lot of power, and they still are. So you probably say, well, crypto mining isn't the same as making cars. True. But is it any less valuable? And some people, who of course don't understand, would say no. But I think that time will tell, definitely will tell, whether or not Bitcoin's existence and the use of power to mine it are of value to the world. It just hasn't been completely obvious to everyone yet. And I think that if we're targeting companies saying that this purpose of mining is wrong, then you really truly do not understand the point of crypto. So it's a smear campaign. It's an attempt to undermine one thing in order to promote other things. And it's like, oh, well, you look at Ethereum. It doesn't use hardly any power. I'm like, yes, it doesn't use power anymore. But proof of work is necessary in order to not consolidate all this attempt to be decentralized into the hands of the very few. So this whole thing is they saying, well, you're sucking up a lot of power, you should be paying for it. So we are paying for it by making a coin that is not inflationary, which unfortunately the US dollar is. And we're already facing problems with the US dollar. So heck, even if the US dollar becomes a CBDC, even if it does, who's going to be mining it? Or at least controlling it and authorizing it, right? So someone's going to be doing that, even if it's the U.S. doing it, the government itself. This was in this article. It says a report estimates that crypto miners in the U.S. consumed 50,000 gigawatts of our electricity between 2022, between Bitcoin and Ethereum. And somebody also made a point that Bitcoin alone, in just the U.S. alone, sucks up more power than the entire continent of Australia. So they're just like, well, you're sucking up too much power. And the thing that I was going to argue explicitly about this in particular is that the neat thing about crypto is you can instantly turn it off and on. You can turn off your miners instantly. You can turn them on instantly, well, within a few minutes, but much faster than almost any other hardware on the planet, with the exception of any other, computer explicit devices. And it was proved by Riot blockchain last year when Texas needed power. The Riot's like, look, we're using a lot of power. We're using all the excess. You guys need excess? You're running low? Well, we'll just turn our machines off. And then there's all your overhead. And this is literally what I was trying to do. The reason it's personal is because this was my proposal to the local power companies here in California. Was like, look, I'll suck up all the power, everything that's generated, and then when you guys need it, when you're having a shortage, I can just turn my machines off. And then you get your power back. And there goes the overhead. You don't have an overhead problem. So this is the reason I feel like this is a smear campaign from one particular industry trying to look at crypto miners as being an illegitimate purpose.
There's a quote here down like closer to the last one here, right above the Robert F. Kennedy Jr. tweet. It says
Right.
Bitcoin mining uses the same as video games, and no one is calling a ban on those. He said on Twitter, the environmental argument is a selective pretext to suppress anything that threatens elite power structures.
Exactly. He's not wrong. I don't often agree with Robert F. Kennedy Jr., but he's not wrong. So, anyways, let's move on to crypto
Yeah.
regulation.
Guess what? Guess what's going on over here at this article here? Crypto companies plead with U.S. regulators not to follow the U.S. So
Yeah.
this article goes into it's talking directly about A16Z or Andreessen Horowitz. How there's a lot of changes going on over at UK, and pretty much the main shrug is please UK don't follow what the US is doing because the US is just putting a bunch of limitations on crypto innovation, and because of that, there's a lot of exodus going on in the states to
Yep.
other nations, and I think UK would probably be
Boone.
a promising
Yeah.
land if they don't. Re- eh, eh, Laws and regulations are good, but regulations to
Restrict innovation is bad.
yes, there you go, bingo, ding ding ding. Where's my alarm sound? Ding ding ding. Yes. That's pretty much what this article is talking about, and it goes down. It talks a little further how there's an exodus with companies. Here, right at the bottom here, it says under the SEC chair Garrett Gizzo, the SEC has gone after American crypto exchanges Kraken, Bittrex, Coinbase for allegedly selling unregistered securities. You know what I noticed? Binance is not on there. I know Binance was being attacked as well, right?
Right. Right. I might just not have put that in there, but the thing that's ironic about it is that Binance is the largest exchange. Why are they not including it?
Right. Exactly.
Largest by
Exactly.
far. I mean, like not just largest because they're number one for reason. It's like you've got number one, and then way down the chart is Coinbase, like way down the chart. So it's almost like you could say
Says
it's equivalent to everyone else. So that's why they be mentioned.
Republican politicians especially think regulators are forcing tech offshores. If that's the case, UK appears poised to welcome in any crypto companies that might become displaced. Exactly what I said.
Well, I mean, one of the comments
And
we didn't include this article in our discussions, but
hmm?
Coinbase itself is trying to make an international exchange. I mean, that doesn't strike me as odd that the U.S. has got cracked down. I mean, think about it. I
Yes.
mentioned it recently. Bittrex, one of my favorite and literally the very first exchange I ever used, it has gone
Hmm.
offline. They've literally taken everything down. They're halting operations altogether. And
Yeah.
I mean, why? Because they're being targeted by the SEC. They're saying that they traded securities when we haven't even declared that the coins that they traded are in fact securities. How do you sue? I mean, the problem with suing the federal government is the federal government has limitless funds, so it's kind of hard to fight them. But it is entirely possible. Was it XRP? Did XRP won their one? Well, didn't win their suit, but they won part of their suit as they made progress. And even though Library lost, it still didn't end Library. But it's like they're saying you need to stop what you're doing. You need to stop what you're doing. What you're doing is illegal securities trade, and but we haven't declared these things to be securities. So how can they be illegal securities trade? And yet the federal government goes in and sues these people anyways. Anyways, to get back to the topic, the U.S. is stifling innovation, foolishly, stupidly, and the U.K. is not, including the European Union. And they are making regulations, but they're not trying to stifle innovation, which is incredibly ironic since most innovation, I'm not saying all, comes from the U.S.
Hmm.
How are we supposed to disrupt if we keep getting? Now, I will say that this financial kind of disruption is really pissing off a lot of people with a lot of money,
Hmm.
and Warren Buffett is one of those people. But it's disruption, right? And it almost feels like you can disrupt anything except the financial sector. If you do that, they will get on your case and tell the federal government to lock you down because you're bad, even though.
I'm gonna say lock you down.
All right, I'm gonna ramble on this article forever, but it is. It, I'm not saying Biden is the person to do this. He's not. Anyway, so I'm not going to go into politics, but I'm just saying that I don't think that he's the governing person that will actually make the change. So let's move
So
on
here
to
we
a
have a CoinDesk article
scandal.
Aragon bans at least 6 DAO members during Treasury discussion, alleging coordinated assault. What is going on there?
Yeah, so apparently not Argon, Aragon's Discord had a number of people join, and they were in an attempt to take over while they were moving their money around. And this is not the first time this has happened with, now, it may not have been the same people, but it's almost like a pirate attack in a sense. These people join the club right when things are getting moved around, and then they try to take over quickly and steal all the money and move it out, and obviously into their pockets, like a pirate typically would do. And fortunately, Aragon managed to ban those 6 members when they were trying to change the discussion during this move, the large move of money. The intent of Aragon DAO was to redistribute this large sum of funds to the DAO members. And we have seen this kind of thing happen one time, at least 2 years ago, where a member of the DAO got in and in the middle of the night called for a vote, and since nobody was awake, and he made the vote really, really short, he basically voted himself 97% of all the funds in the DAO and basically just evacuated the entire DAO. And obviously it's possible. In fact, it's funny to think, but even within the Senate and in the House and the U.S. Congress, there have been midnight and later votes when people have been there all day and they didn't know the plan was to stay there until 2 o'clock in the morning so a vote could be taken. And if you leave because you're too tired or didn't know that there had some kind of scheme going on, that they can vote and you don't get a chance to vote, and they can pass something through the House or House of the Senate when you left. Hey, you left, even though they knew it was going on. So the same thing happens with DAOs. And these guys were just trying to stop that from happening. I mean, DAOs are public, entities. Anybody can join. You just got to do whatever the requirement for the DAO is to get in, buy something, stake something, whatever. And then you're a member. So there's not really, there is a vetting process, I know, but not the same kind of vetting process. So anyways, let's move on to some really cool NFT news.
Yeah. Photography as performance art. Jeremy Coward creates a totally new kind of 10,000 NFT collection. This is really cool, man. There's a couple of videos on here on this article. As a matter of fact, I would even recommend following Jeremy just because how cool this whole setup was. It was a lot, a lot going on here. Excuse me. So let's see. I here's a quote. I'm drawn to big, scary things, to things that are really hard. Coward said, shrugging. Doing this, and this has pushed me to my limits in all kinds of different ways. I don't know. I don't know if it'll work. I think it will. Yeah, he literally brought a whole entire team together. I'm gonna show you guys a video clip here. I'm gonna mute it and play it for you guys. Where is it at? There's a lot of images here. There's some video clips. Right, yeah, here we go. I'm gonna replay this. It's already muted. This is from Pain. Check this out, man. This is so awesome. Like he's literally doing NFTs of himself. Like, all these little flashes of images are all NFTs. That's cool. On site, very unique, beautiful. That's pretty cool. You know, 10,000 of them, and everybody it was live streamed. Everybody got to see how the NFTs were created. I totally missed it. What about you, Jake? Did you catch any of that?
What, you mean the NFTs, or did I watch the event?
Did you watch the event?
No, I didn't. I mean, I guess it's a replay. I just played it as you played it, but I haven't seen it.
Yeah.
It is neat to see something happen live when it's not something you would normally see happen live. I mean, I guess any concerts It can be pretty fun, but it is neat to see someone generate 10,000 NFTs on the fly. I mean, you think about it, if they spent an hour there, you would have had to been doing an NFT every three NFTs every second just to play them all in an hour. Mm-hmm. So it's I think I commented pre-show about how NFTs have neat tie-ins to these functionalities. I know I was talking about something like tokenization concert tickets. But the intrigue I have for making this is how much an NFT is tied to the marketing aspects of it, and him building this NFT collection in a live studio as people watch is one of those things. Oh, it's never been done before. Yeah, well, that's part of the draw, right? I mean, how did he make these photos? Well, there are all kinds of different ways he was doing it, and it's a performance art of a sort. And it's fascinating to me.
It says right here the photos were being taken too quickly for the eye to catch, but on a farther end of the studio, massive LED walls and colossal projections of Coward's desktop displays the inflows of raw pictures, about 8 per second, each painted with an entirely different combination of images, tones, and lights. That's freaking awesome, dude. Imagine that. This is like wow.
Well, I mean,
Really
it's
cool.
kind of like the way we talked about in the last show with how John Heater and his buddy from Workaholics, Russo, I can't remember his first name, are using NFTs to and Web3 to crowdfund their project, their
Mhm.
space junk project, and it's bypassing this whole archaic, um, you know, establishment uh, manner of making things. Like it's funny to think. Just last night, I was kind of annoyed that one of my favorite TV shows wasn't playing. I don't watch TV typically, but I was kept looking around, looking around. I was looking on social media. I was like, why is it not coming on? And it's because of the writer strike. The writer strike literally canceled one of my shows, and I was like, oh man. I typically watch YouTube, so I mean, there's no writers group on that. It's just the individual creators. But it was weird to see a TV show just disappear. Now, I mean, it's not completely gone. It's just that there's no content to be made because the writers are all on strike. But how do you get around that? Well, NFTs, and Web3. You can literally get around the funding source of the writing strike. One of the problems that you run into with the Writers Guild, particularly for TV and film, which is what these guys are protesting or striking for, is
Check.
there's an establishment, right? The establishment of the writers and the film and television and film writers guild, the establishment of the people who pay those people's
Mhm.
salaries. And I mean, the main reason that people are pissed is because they're making less money now than they were a decade ago. And yet the studios are making money hand over fist. They're up 600% over 10 years hence. And it's like, why aren't the people who are doing all the creation of the content getting paid that well? Because they haven't demanded the money, and now they are. So this is bypassing all that, and it is an individual making this content, and that's kind of cool. But it's yeah, we're not doing writer strike, right? We're not film and television. We are independent, and we don't pay our we don't pay a guild for nobody pays us. It'd be fascinating because at least then I know where my money was coming from. But
Paulie, I wouldn't say they're garbage, man. I think they're actually they have really good contracts. There's a lot of people that do support the guild. Here, really quick, this just to end this article. It says that it took Coward about 6 hours to do the 10,000 unique photo-based self-portrait NFTs. Not bad, not
yeah,
bad.
that is kind of neat. Anyways, let's move to the last article.
Yeah.
And I'm not really going to go through this very much. I don't really want to talk too much about it, but I do want to make at least a point about it. And that is that the article is 3 signs Pepe token is about to trap bulls after its 2,000% price rally. It was, I think, 3 or 4 days ago, possibly Sunday or Saturday. And I use Atomic Wallet, and I've talked about Atomic Wallet multiple times. I'm not talking about Atomic Dex, but Wallet. This is a self-custodied wallet. They make the software, but it's your keys. You can do what you want with them, and it's really fascinating. That's the reason I like Atomic Wallet so much. But it's not a plug. It's just I like it. Anyways, they were immediately pushing the Pepe token, and normally they don't just add tokens. They add tokens, as they find ways of supporting them. But the Pepe token was just booming. Right, it was up hundreds of percent, up, 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 up. And I don't buy tokens when they're booming. I don't buy tokens when they're falling, or I don't sell when they're falling. I buy and sell when the market's mostly flat, or when I suspect there will be a boom in the near future, or a fall in the near future, or something of that sort. But you should never FOMO in or FUD out. You just should not. And this article is making this exact point explicitly. They gave reason. I mean, there's a lot of technical analysis in this. But you can go back to where the Pepe token started, how much it was worth when it started, what it's been doing over the last a week or 48 hours, and when a huge explosion. I'm not saying all huge explosions are bad, and in price, but typically a large explosion in price. It's like when it gets posted on Coinbase is one example, but typically even on Coinbase, the increase is over time and not just all at once. Now, one of their particular technical analysis points they make here is Pepe whale distribution is worrisome, and that's one of the things I want to make a point. When you see a lot of coin being held by just a very, very few people, or even if it's just a coin being held by just one person, run away. Do not buy. Do not get into that coin. Just don't even bother. You're going to get taken for a ride. And I hate to say it, but it's a very, very, very common way of doing a pump and dump scheme. And a lot of people, they don't look at these technical analysis, and it may just be because they don't want to. I completely understand. It's complicated. But any snake oil salesman is going to throw a ton of words at you to confuse you into buying so they can steal your money. And confusion is what FOMO and FUD are. If you're thinking, you're not doing something off the cuff. You're not doing it just randomly. You're not doing it just because someone sold you on an ideal and not reality. So, don't put all your eggs in one basket. Don't play with more than 10% of your money if you can possibly consider it. I mean, if you got more than enough to cover all your daily expenses from now until you retire, then if you have this spare money that's, $100 million, fine, play with that. You don't need it to live. But don't play with the money you need to live. That's basically what I'm saying.
Put my house.
Yeah, don't play with your house, don't play with your car, unless you have spare cars, in which case, go ahead. You don't need them to exist. So it's never, or as they say, the adage you used to use when I was in college was, don't mod your daily driver. Which means
I'm gonna auction off my Charizard, my hologram.
Well, I mean, if you got spare Charizards,
Oh, I'll never.
I was going to say that when I was doing card collecting, I would collect my favorite cards and what card collecting is. Collect as many of my favorites as I possibly could, so I could have backups. So if any time in the future that particular card, whether it be baseball, basketball, or some kind of Pokemon or MTG or something, becomes valuable, I have extras, and those I can sell. So don't play with your daily money. Just don't. You're just asking for problems. So that's all I got to say about this. So if you guys would like to check this article, you can see why they're saying don't. Could they be wrong? Yes, but the signs point to it's a pump and dump, and I don't want to go through the entire technical analysis on this article because it's much more than this particular show tends to cover. We just tend to cover the
numbers in there for sure.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not saying it's super complicated, but it smelled to me like a pump and dump, and this is just confirming that. So let's just wrap the show up since we're about at time. Thank you, everybody, for watching. We appreciate you. And if you would like to show your appreciation to us, we would appreciate that in exchange. You can donate to us in many different coin factors. You may check us out on Discord. You can subscribe to our Patreon. You can pay us in good old-fashioned fiat via PayPal. See us on Twitch, as several people are doing right this very moment. Buy us a coffee. Check us out on free Odyssey, YouTube, Twitter, and Reddit. And also, as we make a point at the top of the show, check out Blockchain Expo. It's not going to be here much longer, another 2 weeks, and it's gone until next year. But it's a really cool thing, and we will be streaming it live in 2 weeks.
It's free.
It is free. Go check it out. It's in Santa Clara at the Santa Clara Convention Center in Silicon Valley. And with that, we say at the end of every show, stack sats and hodl. Adios.